Drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, fen-phen, orlistat have historically taken the world by storm. But there are hidden dangers to these miracle weight loss drugs. I am Dr. Mizan. I am a certified medical legal consulting expert, physician, whatever you want to call it, with family medicine training. And today we're going to talk about these drugs. It's pretty bad. So why are we talking about this now? So it's been about 2 to 3 years since Ozempic has gotten on the pharmaceutical market. So the way that drugs work, like the way that the pharmaceutical pipeline works, is that these drugs were developed many years ago, sometimes decades ago. But the marketing arm of many pharmaceutical companies and industries, they look at, again, market and demographic research. So what is Ozempic, firstly? So Ozempic, Wegovy, these are, the chemical name is called semaglutide. Semaglutide, again, I'm a medical physician, I'm an MD. Back when I was in clinical practice, we used semaglutide exclusively for diabetic patients, type 2 diabetic patients, or who basically had no other option. No, metformin was not working, insulin was not working. And so we would transition them into these, into these injections that basically had a greater propensity for proper glucose maintenance. One of the, most of the time beneficial side effects of semaglutide is that it does cause pretty rapid weight loss. But again, all weight loss is not the same, right? Like, as a medical physician, this is not medical advice or anything, but we all know as human beings that the best way to lose weight is slow and steady. So lower your caloric intake, increase the amount of physical activity you perform, drink a ton of water, stay in a low stress environment. And that includes your career, your family, etc., right? So these 4 steps are the ideal, organic way for a human to lose weight, and most importantly, to keep it off. So what we're seeing now, or rather what we've been seeing forever, like since, like I think it was the 1960s or so, there was a drug called fen-phen, which was literally an amphetamine. Like, literally it was an amphetamine. And so that became a craze. People had a ton of negative side effects. There were a ton of lawsuits against it. All right, great. Fast forward. During my time, I'm a 90s kid, I'm a millennial, so during my time, there was a drug called orlistat, and orlistat was basically touted to be this miracle drug, lose a ton of weight, but it did lead to something called steatorrhea. So steatorrhea basically means oily bowel movements or feces, and it led to, and the way that it worked is it basically stopped absorption of nutrition and fats, and so people would just be pooping oil, literally. And so this led to quite a ton of side effects, because again, you're not absorbing vitamins, you need fat. So you're not absorbing fats and oils, lipids, you're not absorbing vitamins A, D, E, and K, all of which are essential vitamins. Fast forward to, the 21st century or whatever, and now we have semaglutide. And so what basically happened is, and this is basically, like, if you watch my videos, you'll see that I have this huge thing against crony capitalism and just like this incessant need for money and greed without looking at the human being. Capitalism, in effect, is, in its sole beautiful ideal, is fine. Like, your effort should be valued, right? But not at the cost of human lives, and not at the cost of being dishonest. That goes against, halal policies that I follow. So anyway, so semaglutide was found to have extremely fast weight loss capabilities. How does it work, though? So the way that it works is that it basically causes starvation in your system. So when you take a shot of semaglutide, and again, the names are Wegovy, Ozempic. We all hear about they're so popular. Even SNL with my boy Rami. Rami hit me up, like, you and I can do some collaboration. Like, it's so popular that even SNL made a skit called, like, what was it, like Ozempic for Ramadan or something, which was pretty good, but as a physician, I was extremely like worried that like this is in the mainstream, you know? So, and I'm not alone, by the way. Like all physicians actually, like all credible physicians are extremely against this. Because there's no such thing as a miracle drug, right? Every single thing that's touted to be a miracle drug, you know, it's too good to be true. All right. So what are the side effects? And then after I read my script here, I'm going to go ahead and read an actual lawsuit paper. That's going to blow everyone's mind. So, all right. So what is the use of semaglutide? You know, Ozempic, Wegovy, whatever. It's basically an anti-diabetic. It basically controls the mechanism of action actually helps maintain glucose by adjusting absorption levels of nutrition and also acting on the pancreas in a very specific way that doesn't really matter. And who should use it? It should be solely diabetics who are recalcitrant to other medications. So basically it's like they're like lifestyle modifications is always number one. That's, you know, eating, like lowering your caloric intake, eating healthier, eating lots of fiber, drinking lots of water, exercise every day. If people can't do that for whatever reason, you know, yeah, whatever reasons, then we say, okay, metformin, that doesn't work, insulin, that doesn't work. We have glipizide and glipurides and all these things. Okay, so that's the group of people that should be using semaglutide. It's people that, like, you know, nothing else really works. So it's like, you know, we need sort of like a more powerful medication. And so basically, again, like, you know, because of marketing, it's not a medical thing, by the way. So I want you guys to be clear on this. Like, it's not a medical indication. Like, if you want to lose weight, you don't just get semaglutide. That's like as physicians, we cannot do that. So you need to meet pre-diabetic or diabetic, you know, criteria. But again, what's happening now is because it's so popular and it's, you know, the creators, Novo Nordisk, basically marketed this to heck, and so now people are giving it privately, so they're just selling it. I've even found websites where, you know, there will be a doctor who signs it without even seeing you, which is incredibly unethical, right? Anyway, so it's being used by people that are not diabetics and for the wrong reason. It's like you're taking a thing for the side effect, if that makes sense. All right. So now, like, you know, weight loss is a side effect, by the way. It's not a goal of the medication, by the way. So, okay, now let's talk about the adverse bodily harm, adverse effects, side effects. And again, what's crazy is like these side effects should be, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other physicians, it should be right front and center. Like, we call that a black box warning in medication. So, but again, like, none of this is advice. I'm just giving my opinion. So the side effects, so gastroparesis is the number one side effect of this medication, and it's really bad. So gastroparesis basically means the gut stops moving. So if your gut stops moving, guess what also stops moving? Food, right? So, and also you're not going to feel hungry because your gut's not moving. Like, we have a natural process called peristalsis. So peristalsis is like, it's happening all the time, by the way. It's a rhythmic motion going down from your stomach, from your mouth all the way to the back of your body, right? So, so, you know, this is happening 24/7, by the way. So at different rhythms, at different rates. But basically, when you eat, when you drink, the body, you know, it has this beautiful rhythm that it digests food. When you take semaglutide, it stops this. So, like, you know, that leads to a lot of issues. So it leads to malnutrition. It leads to immunocompromise, because again, you're not getting nutrition. Like, you're not getting the building blocks for your immune system. You're not getting the building blocks for muscle, bone. So we're actually seeing osteoporosis, guys. So osteopenia and osteoporosis, which means decreased bone density in young people. We're seeing decreased muscle mass. So you're going to permanently lose muscle if you take these drugs. And then what else? We're seeing aging and sagging skin. So people call this Ozempic face, but it's actually pretty darn dangerous, because when you basically are starving, this is like what we see in like refugees. Like, you know, I actually worked in a refugee clinic. And so we would see this in refugees, like basically normal human beings who are just forced to not have any food. The first place to lose weight is usually the face. Because again, you don't need that much facial fat, right? You need visceral fat for your organs, but you don't really need facial fat. So that's why you get this like sagging like sort of aging looking skin. A lot of people are also immunocompromised because of this. So that basically means, again, because you're not getting appropriate your immune system is weakening. So then you're getting infections. People are getting the common cold a lot more often. People can get more serious things like Pseudomonas infection, pneumonia, all these things, MRSA infections, encephalopathy. People are actually having brain inflammation because of this drug. There's increased risks of various cancers like thyroid cancer. What else? So, and it's extremely expensive because most insurance will not cover it, or they'll just partially cover it. And the last thing, which I think is extremely disingenuous of this drug, is that if you stop taking it, which obviously you will, because you're not going to be taking this your whole life, because you die if you take it your whole life. Even diabetics, like as physicians, we don't give this for an entire lifelong, right? Like it's very short, it's very short spurts that we prescribe this drug. Once you immediately after you stop taking semaglutide, you're going to gain this, you're going to be heavier than you were when you started. So let's say you're 150 pounds right now and you want to lose like 20 pounds. You take semaglutide, you lose like 20 pounds. Fantastic. Once you stop it, within a few months, you're going to bubble up to like 180. And then because now your body is like, I was starving for like a month. I don't want that anymore. So then your body's own ghrelin system and the entire hormonal system is going to recalibrate to this new starvation person that you created. You self-induce this starvation version of yourself. And so none of these things are actually, emphasized. And what's happening now is that the lobbying and marketing for semaglutide is insanity. Like, I'm only in my early 30s, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Like, I don't think this level of deceit and this level of like excessive, strong arming has happened with any other drug ever in the history of mankind, which is, believe me, this is not a new, this is a new thing in a way, but it's not a new thing, but this is the worst of it ever. Okay, and so, I've actually read papers published by, guess who? Novo Nordisk. So it's like the creators of the medication are publishing their own scientific papers, or they're funding these papers. So can you really believe them, And they also influence healthcare policies. Like a lot of healthcare systems now are getting money from these companies. So they tell their doctors like, oh yeah, just go ahead and prescribe these drugs, So it goes against the Hippocratic Oath. And so it's like, it's mind-boggling what is actually happening in 2024 with semaglutide and all of its versions. That's my conclusion. Really, it's a pretty big issue, guys. Again, as a physician, I don't give advice on this channel, but the best way to lose weight, again, is just lower your caloric intake, monitor how many calories you put in, exercise, be with friends, don't drink, don't smoke. Just that's really it. Like things that humans have been doing for millennia. And that will allow you to keep the weight off, because then your body slowly calibrates to a skinnier version of yourself. That's the best way. Because if you do any crash diet, any crash whatever, your body is like, why are you starving me? So, okay. So I'll link an article. I'm already at like the 14-minute mark, but I'll link an article to drugwatch.com's article on this because it's insane. I'll just go ahead and read the history. So speaking of the Ozempic lawsuit, so the lawsuits claim the drug can cause severe gastroparesis, ileus, which means the gut is not moving at all, intestinal blockage, and therefore even death, and that the drug's manufacturers failed to warn of this risk. The first Ozempic stomach paralysis lawsuit was filed on August 2, 2023. A few months later, February 2, 2024, a federal panel combined at least 55 lawsuits into a multi-district litigation. This is called an MDL. So these are the types of cases that I assist in as a medical legal consulting physician. And as of this month, actually, June 2024, I've counted that there are 101 personal injury lawsuits for gastroparesis, ileus, and intestinal blockage or obstruction in just Pennsylvania. All right. So, and again, like, I work with clients all over the US, some in Canada. It's happening, guys. Like we're literally, it's happening right now. So mark my words, like within, I don't even know, like probably in a year or like 5 years or something, this is gonna have the exact same like stigma as like fen did back in the 80s, or like orlistat, or whatever the heck, there, whatever fad pill or diet had. And then people are going to be like, oh yeah, I totally knew about it. Like, no, you didn't. Like, you were taking it probably. So, anyway, so yeah, so it looks like, like I'm not going to read the whole timeline of the lawsuit, but basically this has been going on since August 2022. There were multiple physicians and scientists that published letters in JAMA International linking Ozempic to a higher risk of gallbladder disease and gallstones. And so, back then it wasn't marketed that heavily in 2022, but 2023 and 2024, like we saw this huge marketing for Ozempic for weight loss, right? Specifically. Okay, so then gastroparesis lawsuits, intestinal blockage lawsuits in September 2023. Canadians filed a proposed class action lawsuit in BC Supreme Court, stating that Novo Nordisk failed to adequately warn prospective patients, specifically gastroparesis linked to Ozempic. Okay, so yeah, so it, and then there's, plaintiffs' lawyers expected the number of injured parties to grow to at least 10,000 individuals. All right, and we're here today now, so June 2024. So yeah, so, like I personally, like, I can't disclose my cases, but I've actually assisted in multiple, not one, multiple of these cases throughout the past couple of years. So this is very real. And again, like, just don't do rash things in your life, right? Like it's like, if you're, there's no such thing as a drug that fixes everything immediately without extreme side effects. Okay, so yeah, so I hope this helped. If you need any advice, our contact email is in our profile. Because again, this is a YouTube channel, I'm not going to give advice here. So, but yeah, so I'm Dr. Mizan of Mizan Coaching LLC. This is a big deal. Don't take Ozempic, or, whatever you want to do it. But, at least I hope this helped you understand, the dangers of these like trendy weight loss medications. And yeah, like just read the news, like, don't put anything into your body without knowing exactly what it is, right? Yeah, but thank you for watching, and share this, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Any other topics you want our team to discuss and research, just let us know. And we're very happy to, we go through all of our comments, by the way, and we try to respond to every single one. So thank you again, everyone, for your support. It's been an amazing 6 months on YouTube. And hopefully, we'll be continuing this channel indefinitely, hopefully. And medicine always changes, and the medical legal sector is extremely exciting. So, if anyone is interested in joining, or if you need any personal advice, again, just contact us directly and we're happy to help out. All right, take care.